I received a review copy of King of the Dice, the board game, from the distributor, so thanks to Amaroni. Utilise special powers by rolling and re-rolling dice in an effort to place your own castles on the map and claim the highest scoring territories in this introductory area control game for families. That's the hook. I'm Adam Porter. I design games and I review them on this channel with a focus on product design. Niels Nielsen's King of the Dice, the board game, is a re-implementation of his earlier card game from HABA, which I haven't played. I guess it must have been a success to warrant this reimagining. For the rest of this review, I'm going to drop the subtitle, The Board Game, and just call this later title King of the Dice. We'll just imagine the older card game never existed. No great challenge for me, since until very recently I had no idea that it did exist, and I have absolutely no idea what it involves. So when I say King of the Dice, I mean this game, right? Great, let's get on with it. HABA is primarily known for its children's range of games in bright yellow boxes, which includes classics like Rhino Hero, Monza, and the recent Moonlight Castle. But King of the Dice fits into their family range of slightly more complex titles, labelled with the Game Night Approved branding. This line features classics like Karuba, Adventureland, and The Key. Now when I said complex, please bear in mind that I'm using that as a relative term. These are lightweight games, and King of the Dice in particular feels like a my first area control game. The box says that it's for ages 8 and up, and that feels about right. In King of the Dice, players are competing to control sections of the map by placing their own coloured tokens in large connected groups. On your turn you roll the dice, then you've got 2 further re-rolls to try to achieve your desired result. You're aiming to match one of the criteria showing on the face-up cards, which are available to all players. And if you fulfill the requirements of a card, you take it and immediately use its one-off ability, often taking a castle token and placing it onto a hex, matching the terrain showing on its base. You add one of your own coloured cubes on top to show that you now own that territory. Some of the abilities will let you look at the underside of a selection of castle tokens and choose which one you want to use. Others will let you steal a location from an opponent. Some will let you occupy any fiery location on the board and claim the dragon's fire token. Or you might take an ability which lets you steal a card or token from another player. The cards also have a secondary function. Each card shows a dice icon of a specific colour and number. You keep a card after using its ability, and if you ever have 2 cards which have matching dice icons, you can discard both cards to utilise that imaginary die. If you fail to fulfil any of the card requirements on your turn, you instead take any card and flip it to its reverse side. You don't get to use an ability, but the card features a wild dice icon. This can be paired with any other dice icon to generate the corresponding imaginary dice. You also get to light a new fire on the board, a token which players will compete over later. The game ends when all castles have been placed, and players score points for their biggest set of connected castles, as well as gems that they've collected, and the player with the most dragon fire gets a little bonus too. The highest scorer wins. As always, we'll start with onboarding, and specifically the outward presentation of the game. My initial impression was that King of the Dice appears to be marketed at young kids. It's bright and it's colourful, but it's very cutesy. I feel like the artwork pitches a little bit lower than the stated age range of 8 years and up, and it's beyond generic. We've got kings and elves, dragons and ogres. There's not a lot to get excited about here, except for the title. King of the Dice is an ace name for a game. It's simple, evocative, and on point. You know what you're getting into. Frankly, the title redeems what is a fairly uninspiring looking package. The next step in getting up and running, of course, is the rulebook. I think of HABA as the leader in top-tier board games for children. That yellow box is a guarantee that you're going to get a high-quality product, expertly designed to work for its target audience. HABA excel at this stuff. So I fully expected that learning the game would be a breeze. And it should have been, because the game is super simple. But it wasn't, because the rulebook's really odd. Now I'm a seasoned game player. I play many games far more complex than this one. But I struggled through these rules. Everything you need to know is in there, but the order in which key concepts are explained just seems off. I spent longer than I should have searching for explanations about card effects and icons. Some icons aren't well explained, and there are sections which I'm pretty sure are plain wrong, specifically regarding which tokens are placed face down or face up. Perhaps it's a translation issue, and it's certainly of no major consequence, but I was constantly second guessing myself. Have I missed something here? It was far from the smooth experience that I expected. There's a delightful little feature whereby the card stacks can be lined up to create a panoramic image. And when you do so, it has no gameplay significance, but it means that the cards will be correctly ordered from easy to difficult. This level of attention to detail is what I expect from HABA, and it's the reason that I'm surprised that the rest of the rulebook wasn't so slick. I'm overstating this. You'll work it out. Don't let the clunky rulebook put you off purchasing this game. It's not hard to pull it all together, but maybe don't expect your 8-year-old to work it all out by themselves. Of course, the most important thing is that the game's enjoyable once you're up and running, so let's get into the gameplay. As always, I'll be analysing the gameplay using my ladder execution framework. I score a game between 0 and 3 in 5 categories, and the game climbs 1 rung for each point scored. A score of 10 or above will reach the highest rung and indicate a real favourite with me. For thematic immersion, King of the Dice scores 1. It's a pretty nonsensical exercise. I mean, we're rolling dice, collecting cards and placing tokens. But any area control game tends to lend itself to kingdom building, and there's a nice sense of jostling to dominate the map. Hence, King of the Dice avoids a 0 score. For interaction, it's a 3. The game is really in your face. The entire concept is built around cutting off your opponents on the map board. There's lots of opportunity for stealing territory, cards and tokens from your opponents, and some of the scoring is built around majorities. For challenge and tension, it's a 2. The central dice mechanism, lifted from Yahtzee and a million imitators, is always filled with tension. Should I stick with my current result, or risk one more reroll to try to get something even better? The constant back and forth as you compete over territory, it's all quite gripping. The feedback in the game is great. Every turn you gain a new card with an ability, but also a dice symbol. When paired together with a matching symbol, you generate an extra die. The abilities give you point scoring tokens and allow you placement on the map. The game just offers up tons of rewards on every turn. And for meaningful choices, it's a 1. This game is very dependent on chance, as you'd expect for a dice game for young players, but it's not mindless. The push your luck aspects in the dice rolling and choosing which ability to aim for each turn are interesting decisions. I'd hesitate to say that the game will be won or lost based on skill. I think good fortune will probably win out on most occasions, but strategic play does have an impact, so the game rarely feels unfair. The overall score of 10 is outstanding, but I'm going to deduct 1 point because of my issues with the rulebook. It hardly matters though, because 9 points is close to the top of the ladder and demonstrates just what an engaging game this is. I really enjoy it. And that was a bit of a surprise after my muted enthusiasm going in. On to my product design checklist. Is the game innovative? No, there's nothing new here. We have the Yahtzee mechanism, we have take that powers and area control. I can't pinpoint a single new mechanism, or even a twist on an old one. Does the game fulfill a need? This is the strange thing. While I struggle to identify any innovation, I think there really is a gap in the market for a game like this. I love these my first implementations of popular gamer mechanisms. Game writers had success with this approach many times. Sushi Go is my first card drafting game. Abandon All Artichokes is my first deck builder. Happy City is my first tableau or engine building game. And now we have King of the Dice from HABA, my first area control game. The biggest barrier to the board gaming hobby, and the main thing which prevents tabletop gaming reaching the commercial success of digital games, is the upfront work involved in learning complex rule sets. Simplified, streamlined entry points are always welcome. Will the game grow with its user? Well, I think there's limited scope here. There isn't much complexity to explore, and a single session will show you much of what the game has to offer. I don't think that's a major problem for a game aimed at families. Kids tend to be in their comfort zone when they get to revisit something familiar, and parents are going to appreciate not having to learn new rules every time they play. That said, the feel of the game changes a little bit with different player counts, and that could keep it fresh. It's a great 2-player head-to-head, chopping through your opponent's territory with the ogre ability and competing to have the most dragon fires. But the puzzle becomes more complex with more opponents encroaching on your space at the 3 or 4 player count. On my idea execution matrix, best-selling games tend to occupy the warm red-orange part of the grid, while commercial flops sit in the cooler blue section. King of the Dice is a really good, if not groundbreaking, idea. I'm sure this will be a huge favourite with many families and a great stepping stone to the wider hobby. The execution is a mixed bag. The rules have been streamlined to perfection and the components are lovely, but the outward presentation isn't working for me, and the rulebook overcomplicates a very simple system. As a result, the game sits in the yellow section of the grid. A nice place to be. It predicts a solid, profitable product. King of the Dice has been one of the most enjoyable surprises that I've played over recent months, and I recommend it highly, particularly if you're playing as a family, or if your group enjoys light, interactive games and doesn't mind a hefty dose of luck. As always, I'll sign off by asking you to subscribe, hit like and comment. I always appreciate hearing from my viewers, and I really appreciate you watching too. I'll see you next time. Until then, all the best.